The writing of destiny, or what is known as the script of fate, has profoundly influenced the human heart and mind for centuries. It inspires contemplation of various aspects of life through spirituality. Religious scriptures and philosophies teach that all events in our lives are predetermined. Whatever is meant to happen in our lives will happen. Our sages and seers have repeatedly emphasized that no one can surpass the workings of fate. A person cannot change their destiny. What we desire may be one thing, but what happens is another. No one can go beyond the workings of destiny, nothing happens outside its bounds. Listen to a mythological story related to this. In the past, on the outskirts of the city of Ujjayini, there lived a great sage. He was well versed in all scriptures and was renowned for his wisdom. His fame had spread far and wide due to his knowledge. People from distant places would come to him to resolve their doubts on various matters. The sage could accurately predict the destinies of those who sought his guidance. Whatever he foretold would invariably come true. He would reveal what was written in the fate of those who consulted him. He had knowledge of the past, present, and future, making him a seer of all three times. In the same city, there lived a scholarly couple named Sumantra. The wife had immense devotion to God, but they were childless, which constantly saddened them. They had heard about the great sage from others, so one day, they decided to visit the sage to learn about their fate. Accordingly, one morning, they went to the sage. After offering their respects, they sat down and began to weep. Seeing their tears, the sage asked, "Why are you crying? Do not cry. What is your problem? Tell me, and I will provide a solution." Sumantra replied, "Gurudev, we have not been blessed with children until now. This torments us every moment. We have heard a lot about you. Please look into our fate and tell us whether we will have a child or not." Hearing the scholarly couple's words, the sage reassured them not to worry. He brought 2 fruits from outside and gave them to the couple, saying, "Eat these fruits, and you will surely be blessed with a child." The couple, overjoyed, thanked the sage and returned home. Just as the sage had said, after eating the fruits, they had a son within a year. The couple was very happy. Sumantra said to his wife, "Let us invite the sage to our home and serve him with devotion." His wife agreed. They both invited the sage to their home and served him with great devotion and respect. They even had the sage perform the naming ceremony for their son. The sage named the boy Suparna. Then, Sumantra requested the sage to reveal their son's future. "Gurudev, please tell us about our son's fate and what will happen to him in the future," he asked. The sage replied, "May the boy grow up well. Bring him to me when he is 8 years old, and I will then tell you about his fate." Saying this, the sage returned to his ashram. Time passed, and now the son was 8 years old. One day, Pandit Sumantra took his son to see the sage. When they arrived, there were many people gathered around the sage. Seeing so many people, the boy asked his father, "Father, what is happening here? Why have so many people gathered?" Sumantra replied to his son, "These people are here to see the sage, who possesses knowledge of the past, present, and future. People come to him to discuss their problems and seek solutions. The sage can understand the future of those who come to him and reveals it to them. All these people have come to know their fate." Hearing his father's words, Suparna bowed to the sage and asked, "Gurudev, please look into my fate and tell me." The sage did not say anything initially but eventually, seeing the boy's persistence, said, "Child, sit in front of me, and I will look into your fate." Suparna sat in front of the sage. The sage took out his scriptures, examined the boy's forehead, and made some calculations. He found that it was written that Pandit Sumantra's son would marry a girl from a lower caste. Seeing this, the sage pondered. He thought that if the boy's marriage were to happen with a girl from a lower caste, it would bring great shame to the Pandit in the village. The sage informed Pandit Sumantra of this matter. Upon hearing this, Pandit Sumantra said, "I will not let that happen. Now that I know the future, I will change fate. The sage once again examined his scriptures and made calculations. He discovered that a fisherman family lived a few miles away, near the banks of the Ganga River. The fisherman had several daughters, and the youngest, named Subhashini, was now 3 years old. The sage realized that it was destined for Pandit Sumantra's son to marry this girl. The sage informed Pandit Sumantra of this matter. Hearing the sage's words, Sumantra thought, I am capable of changing my son's fate. Now that I know his destiny, I can alter it. Sumantra bowed to the sage and said, Gurudev, I will also see if fate is indeed so powerful. Determined to change the fate written by Brahma, he set out towards the fisherman's village. Sumantra went to the fisherman's village and approached his house. At that time, the fisherman saw a pundit from Ujjayini standing at his door. He invited the pundit inside and respectfully said, It is our good fortune that a learned man like you has come to this poor man's house. Please tell me the reason for your visit. Sumantra replied, I was passing through this way and came to you for a specific reason. Do you have a 3-year-old daughter named Subhashini? The fisherman answered, Yes, Swami. I have 5 daughters, and the youngest is named Subhashini. She is 3 years old now. Sumantra then said, Sir, my guru is a seer with knowledge of the past, present, and future. A great misfortune is about to befall you. As long as this daughter remains in your house, you will not have a son. If you wish to see a son playing in your courtyard, you must abandon your youngest daughter immediately. Sumantra listened to the fisherman's concerns and replied, Sir, I can foresee your future and offer you assistance. Since I do not have a daughter of my own, I propose a solution, give me your daughter Subhashini. I will take care of her upbringing. When she grows up, I will find a suitable groom for her and arrange her marriage. Driven by the desire to obtain a son, the fisherman agreed and entrusted his little daughter Subhashini to Sumantra. Sumantra felt immense relief inside. Taking the child with him, he left from there. As he traveled along the way, he contemplated that if he were to kill this girl, the sin of infanticide would be upon him. Therefore, in order to be free from this, he went to a carpenter and had a small wooden box made. Placing the 3-year-old girl inside, without knowing anything, he put her to sleep and floated her in the river Ganga. Sumantra thought the box floated along for a short distance downstream, and then eventually sank into the river. After this, he felt that he would not incur any sin of infanticide. Leaving the child to float in the river, he returned to his home. He felt that he had surpassed his destiny. The box floated along for a short distance downstream, but did not sink. It continued to float ahead. Later, by divine providence, in the town of Alakapuri, a scholar named Madhava had come to the Ganga River for morning ablutions. He noticed this floating box approaching and brought it to the shore. Upon opening it, he found a beautiful sleeping girl inside. Overjoyed at the sight, he prayed daily to Mother Ganga to bless him with offspring. Seeing the child sleeping, Madhava pondered and realized, Today Mother Ganga has shown mercy upon me by sending this child. With great happiness, he lifted the child and took her home. The wife, upon seeing her husband return with the child, asked, Whose daughter have you brought with you? She is so beautiful. Madhava replied, Mother Ganga has fulfilled our prayer today by granting us this child. From now on, she is our daughter. Let us raise her with good upbringing so that she lacks nothing. Time passed, and Subhashini grew into a mature woman. As she grew, her beauty also blossomed. She appeared like an apsara, celestial nymph. One day, Madhava's wife said to him, Look, our daughter is now of marriageable age. It's time to find a suitable groom for her and get her married. Upon hearing his wife's words, Madhava started looking for a suitable groom. However, he couldn't find anyone suitable nearby. Eventually, news reached about Sumantra's son, a qualified scholar from a respected family with good character. Madhava, upon hearing this, went to inquire about him. He found out that he was indeed a suitable match, a good scholar with a noble lineage. Without delay, he arranged for the marriage proposal. Madhava went to Sumantra's house upon hearing people's words. He informed Pandit Sumantra about his visit and shared details about his daughter's qualities, beauty, and charm. He expressed his desire to marry his son to Sumantra's daughter. Sumantra was delighted upon hearing this and agreed wholeheartedly. He saw this as a change in his son's destiny. When the wedding day arrived, Sumantra accompanied his son and family to Alakapuri. Along the way, he changed his perception about his son's destiny. The predictions made by the sages turned out to be false. However, Sumantra did not know that Subhashini was the child he had abandoned in the river. Nobody can change the laws of fate ordained by destiny. It's strange that due to Sumantra himself, Subhashini became the wife of the Suparna, and became the daughter-in-law. The grand wedding of Suparna and Subhashini was celebrated with great pomp. Suparna was delighted to see the beauty of his wife. Similarly, Subhashini was happy to have a handsome husband. Sumantra was pleased, believing that he had changed his son's destiny for the better. Suparna had to go to another town for work once. During this time, Sumantra took his daughter-in-law and visited the great souls. He told them, "Gurudev, I have changed the fate prescribed by destiny for my son." Hearing this, the great souls chuckled. When asked why they were smiling, they replied, "Do you know, Sumantra, the girl you abandoned in the river Ganga? She is the same girl." This revelation left Sumantra distressed. "How is that possible? I left that child to die in the river, and now she has become my daughter-in-law. How could this happen?" he asked. Subhashini, the daughter-in-law, replied, "My true parents were wicked. When I was 3 years old, they left me to die in the Ganga. These wonderful people saved me and gave me a new life. Since then, they have been my parents." Upon hearing this, Sumantra resolved to abandon her once again. "If you wish for a son, come with me to the ocean shore," said the Sumantra to Subhashini. "Follow my instructions." Both of them went to the ocean shore. There, Sumantara took out the ring from his finger and threw it into the sea. "Daughter, as soon as you find this ring, come back home. If you return without finding the ring, you will lose your husband. If you follow my instructions, you will surely have a son." Having said this, Sumantara left Subhashini there and returned home. Subhashini tried to find the ring from the sea. However, she couldn't find any trace of it. Disappointed, she began walking down a path. She wasn't heading towards her husband's house nor towards her parental house. While she was walking, a Rajput family approached from the opposite direction. They were leaving for their village. Upon seeing Subhashini, the elderly person asked, "Dear, why are you alone going into this dangerous forest?" Subhashini found herself in a predicament and said, "I am in trouble with no one of my own." The chief of the Rajputs replied, "Daughter, if you have no objection, you can come with us." Subhashini immediately agreed and joined their household. The chief of the Rajput family assigned Subhashini kitchen work. He was a close friend of Pandit Sumantara. Here, destiny played its game again. After returning home, Suparna asked about his wife. Sumantara lied, saying that his wife had drowned in the Ganga river. Hearing this, Suparna was deeply saddened. In the village where the Rajput family lived, there was a Pandit named Ishwara. He had a marriageable daughter. Pandit Ishwara, searching for a good match for his daughter, approached Ujjayini. There he met Sumantara. Following Pandit Ishwara's proposal, Sumantara agreed to accept their daughter into his household as his daughter-in-law. However, he insisted on seeing their daughter before the marriage could proceed. Ishwara agreed to this condition and returned to his village. Sumantra once again told himself that his son must not marry the same girl for the second time. Sumantra went with his son to see the bride at Ishwara Pandit's house. Fate's play was strange. There, a fish had swallowed a ring that Sumantra had let into the sea. When a fisherman caught the fish, the same was caught in the net. When he came to the street where the Rajput family lived, the head of the Rajput family liked the fish curry very much. Therefore, he bought the fish that had swallowed the ring. He gave it to Subhashini and asked, "Daughter, will you cook the fish curry for me?" She said, "I don't eat fish, but if you need it, I will cook the curry for you." When she cut the fish, a ring fell from its stomach. When she took it and looked at it, it was the same ring that had been put into the sea by Sumantra. As soon as they reached Ujjayini, Sumantra said to his son, "Look, I have a dear Rajput friend in this town. Let's first visit his house and have a conversation. Then we can go see the girl." Following his words, they went to the Rajput's house. When Rajput saw Sumantra coming with his son, he was very pleased. He welcomed them warmly, honored them, and treated them with respect. The chief of the Rajput household called Subhashini and said, "My friends have come. Please bring some water to drink." When Subhashini brought the water, she saw her father-in-law in front of her, Sumantra saw Subhashini, and Suparna saw his wife. Then Suparna asked his father why he lied like this. Sumantra, filled with sorrow, confessed that due to his pride, he had acted blindly. Realizing his mistakes and unable to change fate, he sought forgiveness from both. Subhashini returned to her husband's home, where she lived happily. Her virtuous qualities brought great joy to Sumantra. In spirituality, Vidya Baraha means that Brahma or the cosmic power has structured the path of our lives. It provides specific experiences necessary for the development and well-being of our soul. Our religious doctrine states that our current life is the result of past life actions, karma. This principle supports the sequence of events in our lives as consequences of the good and bad deeds performed in our previous births. Therefore, accepting the script of destiny, Vidya Baraha, brings peace in our lives. As long as we resist fate, shadows of suffering will persist in our lives. Embracing the written script of destiny allows us to align with the divine will and helps us progress on the spiritual path. Through meditation and self-reflection, we can understand the script of destiny that teaches the lessons of our lives. This practice helps bring peace and tranquility to our souls. Accepting the script of destiny allows us to embrace the events in our lives and learn the lessons they contain. Embracing the script of destiny helps us to relinquish our ego, recognizing that we are responsible for all situations. When we realize that the Supreme Being alone is truth, we understand the true meaning of our lives. When we fully accept the script of destiny, we progress towards the path of liberation or moksha. Indeed, this should be the ultimate goal of human life. It serves as a symbol of God's will and guides our spiritual growth. Accepting the script of destiny allows us to find greater peace and tranquility in our lives and can lead us forward on the path of spiritual evolution. Dear friends, I'm glad you enjoyed the story. Please like the story and subscribe for the new stories and thus promote our interest in sharing with you more stories like this.